Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Going to spend some time with Rich Greer with Sitters, Etc., a great organization that we're delighted to be friends with here on The Price of Business. And Rich, welcome to the program. How are you today, sir?
Well, I'm doing just fine. Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, tell us about your role with the organization.
Well, actually, I'm a franchise consultant, and I've presented several of my clients to Sitters through the years, actually through the months, and have got to know them very well inside and out. So I've gone through the process with them several times, and because of my background, which we can get to in a little bit if you'd like, I recognize this as being an up-and-coming star in the franchising world.
Yeah, no question about it. Let me tell you, the listener, that Sitters, Etc. is incredible. It makes so much sense from a demographic sense, with over one-third of the population baby boomers, and there's just this huge population that are still part of the silent generation, and even a few left of the greatest generation, all of whom are getting to the point where they're needing additional care. And so from a demographic standpoint, you guys have really reached your stride. Isn't that true, Rich?
You know, how many businesses are out there that has the demand, the continuum demand, and knowing that the next 30 years, it's not even going to slow down for 30 years. We have 10,000 people a day turning 65. We have 4,000 people a day turning 85. I'm 61 years old, and I'm starting to understand the need for this. You know, it's as Betty Davis, movie star, once told us, getting older is not for sissies.
That's for
She's
sure.
right.
That's for sure. Tell us about our guest today.
Kevin, I'm the executive director of Sitters, Etc., and I had actually invited Rich to be our guest today.
You know what? I need to either learn how to read or tell people how to write. All right,
We can start this
Karen,
all over if you'd
Karen,
like.
I am so sorry. Forgive me.
that's
And
okay.
No,
You know,
not a
there's no
problem.
thing
Not a
you-
problem. I thought Rich was doing a great job talking about us, though.
yeah, absolutely. And you're doing a great job of listening. So I appreciate that. And so I do apologize. Karen, you're involved as the executive director of Sitters, Etc., and they're out of Brentwood, Tennessee, and I will be giving some lectures on how to prepare my notes for my program. I do apologize. Everything I said about Sitters, Etc., though, that was my own personal perspective. I love what you guys do. I consider you to be leaders at what you do. And so, Karen, why don't you go ahead and pose the next question, the actually informed question for Rich.
Well, Rich, one of the things that I was so excited about in being able to offer this guest spot to Rich today was that he's a top producer for the Franchise Brokers Association. He's been with them for several years now and has very recently been recognized with some new accolades. So I wanted to ask him to tell your listeners about that. He can certainly be of benefit to some of them. And to kind of put a plug in for him, you know, we work with a lot of franchise consultants, Kevin, and what I have come to really value about our partnership with Rich is that he walks with his clients every step of the way. So, you know, when I need some advice from him or when I need feedback or his input, I know that it's right on because, you know, he's not just left them out to kind of figure things out for themselves. So I wanted to wanted to share that with you. So, Rich, if you would talk to us about what the FBA has recently recognized you for, and then tell them about that other unique qualification as far as we're concerned, in that what your history as a franchise owner, the industry that you've been in.
I'd be delighted to. The Franchise Brokers Association that Karen is talking about it's a network of franchise brokers throughout the United States. We have probably about 200 broker members, and I'm one of them. I actually came to them. I was actually a broker on my own, independent broker on my own. I didn't realize there were networks. I found through just their reputation, I wanted to join the FBA. Last year, I was nominated and received the Rookie of the Year and Industry Leader of the Year, as well as the Certified Franchise Broker designation. And this year, I was happy to receive the Top Producer award for the FBA. And I want to think that one of the reasons why maybe I'm showing some success is not so much me or how smart I am. It's I truly do care. I've been in franchising since 1990 when I bought my first franchise. It was a confusing process. Didn't understand how to buy one. Just knew I had to get out of corporate America. I needed an escape. I saw franchising as being my escape route, but I didn't know where to start. I wish I'd have had a franchise broker to help me back in those days. So I've been in two systems, and I'll talk about the second one in just a moment. That's what Karen's alluding to. My first system I was in was a service business, house cleaning, of all things. But I did very well. I went from startup to being in the top 2% of revenues and sold that in 1999. Took a few years off and enjoyed being with my family, which is one of the nice things about franchising. If you have a job, you can't sell your job, but you can sell your business. Took a few years off, and then I bought a senior care franchise, a competitor of Sitters. Sitters wasn't around back then, and grew that again from startup to being a top 2%. And when I sold that, I wanted to give back. I wanted to help others to be able to maybe help them not have to go through what I had to go to figure out what franchising was, and then out of the 4,000 or so systems out there, which one would be the best system for me.
Yeah, very interesting. By the way, what's a good website for people to go to learn more about what you do?
Well, my website is www.nations, as in more than one, nationsfranchisesource.com. And Nations Franchise Source is all one word. nationsfranchisesource.com. And to learn more about Sitters, etc. franchising, you would go to Sitters, etc. franchising.com. And that's Nations Franchising Franchise.com. Franchise Source.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
All right, and go right ahead with your next question.
So, Rich, I guess, help those out there who are struggling with corporate job, new business. What do I do? What was your thought process? I guess what drove you away from corporate America? Because I've been in the public schoolroom myself as a teacher. Then I became a franchise owner for 10 years. Then back to corporate America. So we kind of go back and forth. What was your thought process during all of that change in your life?
For me, I think I'm probably the unique guy out there. For me, it was I was the loose cannon. I had a good job, good benefits, and I even liked my job. But I was the loose cannon in the room. I was the guy who asked questions. Why? Why are we doing it this way? Is there a better way to do it? And I wasn't satisfied with things like the rules would be you have to be here 7:30. You can't leave till 4 o'clock. And I was a systems analyst. I would sometimes work 3 or 4 days without going home, and yet if I finished a project at 2 in the afternoon, I had to stay till 4 o'clock till the whistle blew. And it just didn't make sense to me. So I had a friend who had a franchise. I liked her lifestyle. I liked every time I saw her, she had a brand new Jeep Cherokee with brand new with leather interior, and I knew what that meant. So I started looking around. Most of my clients things have changed. That was in 1990. Things have changed a lot, right, in the last 24 years. And people these days are looking big. They're either getting laid off, or they're trying to protect themselves from getting laid off. If they didn't get laid off, they're doing the job of two because someone else got laid off. So they're working more hours, they're traveling more, and they're not getting paid really what they feel like they're getting worth. But I think it's more of the time off issue, the flexibility, the having something to hang on to. And again, with a franchise, you're building equity. You're building an investment, whereas with a job, you just hope you're going to be there next year.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Rich Greer, he's with, you to check out his website, nationsfranchisesource.com, and Karen Neal, Executive Director of Sitters, etc., franchising.com. Thanks to both of you.
Absolutely.
You're welcome.
That was a great segment. When we come back, much more for you. Do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com, and you're listening to The Price of Business.